guys, Ash Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. Today, the evolution of top 5 champions inside Raid Shadow Legends starting way back in the day of 2019. To get this info, I actually looked at my 2019 and 2020 content, as well as I used Chosen's tier list from back in the day because he's one of the earliest active YouTubers who did ranking videos. I aggregated that data, and we're gonna take a step back in the time machine, the proverbial time machine, way back. So here we go, back to the sweet old innocent days of Raid Shadow Legends in 2019. So just to remind you what was going on in 2019, the #1 song was Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. The #1 highest grossing film was Avengers Endgame, which became the highest grossing film of all time until Avatar regained the top spot in 2021. I finished churning my butter and plowed the fields, and we're here to talk about the #5 champion in 2019. And that is Rosin Scarhide. That's right, the Permanent Fusion in Raid Shadow Legends was the #5 champion in 2019. Good old Rosin's actually still good, but you can tell he's been dated a little bit. 91 speed, that always annoys me. Let's bump that up to 98. I feel like that's a good number.
We are getting there, folks, slow and steady.
Also, maybe bring this cool down a little bit, but either way, he's still actually good today and worth fusing today. With 100% decreased turn meter is powerful, especially while it's off cooldown, right? And then the decreased defense weaken on single target with a triple hitter on his A1 still can give utility in a variety of different areas against bosses, against waves with the A3, bosses A2, and Fire Knight in multi-hit content with the A1. Also removing a buff from the target, I'd bump those chances up as well. So could definitely use a buff in my opinion, but still, top 200 champion. #4, and this seems criminal. This seems criminal to put her at #4 because through today's lens, Duchess should be #1 out of these 5 champions, but for whatever reason, she was ranked #4. Now keep in mind, for all these champions, the needs of players inside Raid has also evolved and changed throughout the years, right? So who knows, maybe in 2019 we didn't care so much about a Perfect Veil or something, or Revivers, I don't know. But for whatever reason, she's ranked #4. I forgot that she was an old school champion. She's got to be the best out of all the OGs in the game, right? Or at least up there in the conversation. She's got the speed aura, she got one of the best revives still to this day in the game. She's got the AoE with the block debuffs, the increased attack, perfect for nuker setup, perfect for anything, right? And the ethereal ways for that AoE damage mitigation. You gotta love it. Duchess at #4 in 2019. #3 in 2019 was Bad El Khazar, the BEK killer. Here he is. It's Chosen himself, right? Boom. Hey, Bad El Khazar was the man back in the day, guys. Anybody remember how badly you wanted Bad El? Any old school players still playing this game and watching this channel? Let me know in the comments below.
Here he goes now with the nostalgia.
He has the AoE kind of small heal, and then he has the Malice, which is still a very, very good ability. So it's understandable that he was ranked so highly when there are only a few champions compared to now in the game. The full cleanse with the continuous heals and the poisons, more damage on poisons on the passive. A very simplistic kit by today's standards in 2025, but back in the day, he was numero 3. #2 champion in 2019 was Valkyrie. Valkyrie, you know what, guys? Let's see what I had to say about Valkyrie in 2019.
I still don't have Valkyrie. I want her so bad. She's a beast. She's, again, Skull Crusher and Valkyrie and Martyr are the only counterattack champions on all allies in the game. So she's incredibly important if you want to have a speed-tuned counterattack team. And her kit is really simple. Just 2 times on the A1, and check out the A2 here. It's a really good ability. 3-turn cooldown when booked up. Attacks all enemies. Places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns and a counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield and the damage inflicted are proportional to this champion's defense. I believe she has the highest base defense inside the entire game as well. If not, she's definitely top 3. So she is super, super solid. Again, just that counterattack, it's so valuable inside this game.
Oh man, back then, now I say I'm a mediocre Raid YouTube content creator, but back then I was so bad. So bad. I didn't even mention her jealousy passage, the ultimate line cutting ability ability fills the champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a buff. Oh my word. Enemy champions have their turn meters decreased by 10% for each buff they receive. That's busted, and I didn't even mention it. But number one in 2019, numero uno, is none other than, no, where am I going? Martyr! Martyr was the number one champion in 2019. God, nowadays she's still good, but she's not even considered a top 100 champion in the game anymore. It really speaks to how much we value counterattack. There was ally attack back then, like Lanicus the Chosen, Catacomb Counselor, a few others, but it just wasn't as pervasive and necessary in the game like it was today. So we only had 3 counterattack champions, as I said in the video, Skullcrusher, Martyr, and Valkyrie. So the counterattack plus the increased defense plus the decreased attack and the decreased defense on the A1, increased defense, excuse me, made her the best clan boss Demon Lord champion way back in the day, like way back. So Martyr was number one, great with the provoke as well for wave content, albeit on a 4-turn cooldown. She also had the defense aura, so everybody wanted Martyr back in the day. She was the number one champion that I wanted back in the day. It's time to fast forward through time to 2022.
Kind of like the end of an era.
Now we're in 2022 in Technicolor. In Technicolor here, the number one song was Heat Waves by Glass Animals, one of my favorite bands of all time, as well as It Was by Harry Styles. What's the number one movie? Number one movie was Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick, the number one movie of 2022. Who are the top champions? The number 5 champion in 2022 was good old Dracomorph. Good old Dracomorph. Dracomorph, not considered one of the best champions nowadays here 2 or 3 years later, but still very good. He's got the weaken and the decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. He's a decently hard-hitting A1 until they nerf the heck out of it. Still hits pretty hard, though. And then the Poison Jaws on the A2 is a 4-time at random with 4 poisons. Now, this 4-time poison, especially, again, Clan Boss, Demon Lord, back in the day, he was one of the best debuffers out there in the game, if not the best debuffer, because of the decreased defense, weaken, and the poisons. So Dracomorph was number 5. Number 4, some things never change, is Trunda Guilt Mallet. Never misses leg day. Bam, 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 bam. Trunda, you know what? She was still on top. She was the best arena nuker in the game back in the early days of 2022, the late days of 2021, with this Forge Rhythm ability, builder with low accuracy, get that double hit, and she's gonna wreck, right? Little did we know at that time that she was gonna absolutely decimate Hydra Clan Boss and lead to nerfs that, well, the community still can't fully comprehend. Anyway, Trunda Guilt Mallet comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is gonna be Warlord. That's right, Warlord, still an absolute GOAT. Certainly a top 50 champion still in the game. In the arena, arguably a lot higher than that. He has the AoE, the turn meter decrease, the lockout ability, and the block debuffs, albeit 1 turn, but a 3-turn cooldown with the shield and the heal. A lot of control in one pretty tanky champion. It's a shame his speed isn't a little bit higher, but man, we can't be beggars and choosers on one of the best champions in the entire game in terms of lockouts go. So Warlord came in at number 3 in 2022. Some things really don't change. This is probably the closest that we're going to get to a top champion nowadays back in 2022, and is Lydia the Death Siren coming in at number 2. Lydia at number 2 with the Siren's Wail, man. I've said it a billion times. I'll say it a billion more. One of the strongest abilities inside the entire game, with the decreased defense, the weaken, the increased speed, and the strengthen, all on a 3-turn, and she's proving her utility time and time again with new content that gets released inside the game, with bringing all of these Chimera Trial, with the Fear as well on the A1. She's got the Great Death Hold passive to deny revival and revive your team in areas like Ice Golem or the arena for that matter. Yeah, she was just introduced to the game back in 2021 or 2022, and right away I think most players recognize how good she is, and we can certainly recognize how good she remains. But she wasn't number 1. Oh, she wasn't. Sifi the Lost Bride was the number 1 champion in 2022. I'll probably put her on the thumbnail. Yeah, Sifi. Sifi and Rhodos, they broke the game. Now, keep in mind, when Sifi of 2022 was actually a lot more powerful than Sifi is today. That's right. It's true, because this ability was on a 5-turn cooldown, booked down to 3. Booked down to 3. So she was a block debuff, increased defense, increased speed, and the turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown. That made her the best support for PvE and PvP at the time. She's still busted. She's still amazing. She's still just one of the top champions in the game. But back then, yeah, she was number 1, and number 1 by a mile. The number 1 movie by the box office in 2024. We're going to recent times now, and things get dirty. Things get very expensive now as we fast forward to the current day in Raid Shadow Legends.
I've got kids. I've got bills.
We're going to rank for 2025, but we're going to look at the top movie for 2024. It's Inside Out 2, after Deadpool and Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, and Moana 2. I saw it with the kid. I didn't mind it, but you know, it's all right. Number 1 song of the year, Lose Control by Teddy Swims. All right, guys, let's get to it. My girlfriend loves Teddy Swims. I think he's all right, you know? I don't know. Am I crazy?
Never said that, and you're misquoting me, or somebody is, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it.
Let's get to it here. The number 5, Nowadays. I'm not holding back. I'm giving you guys the mythicals. Number 5 is going to be Armand's, basically a mythical champion. Armand's that magnificent is still, you know, the best control in the game. Let's just put it that way, right? The AoE with the turn meter steal, with the cooldowns from the sheep, with the buff removal. I mean, this guy's with the more increasing cooldowns. This guy's just built different. He's really insane. This fusion changed the game in so many ways. So Armand's comes in at number 5. But wait, I'm gonna cheat like I do in every video, and I'm gonna put Marius the Gallant tied at number 5. Listen, nowadays in Raid, there's like 15,000 champions, and you can make the case for almost any 5. So I'm just gonna go for the ones that I would personally pick, because there's so many busted champions in the game right now that it's very difficult. Depends on what you need. You could easily put Newt in this position, but I'm putting Marius the Gallant because he's got an AoE enemy max HP times 3. The decreased duration of enemy buffs is insane. It's sick. It's polymorph proof. He's got his own buffs for everybody on the entire team with the stun and the enfeeble, and he's tanky, and he's got defense in all battles, and he's farmable. Man, Marius, yeah, he's tied at number 5. I think my most controversial pick will be Marichka at number 4. You could easily pick Lydia at number 4 as well. If you need a debuffer, you pick Lydia. If you need the best healer support in the game, arguably, you go Marichka. Even over Taurus, because Marichka, you can just use her without Taurus everywhere, and she's never gonna let you down, right? That passive with reviving everybody, with the block damage all over the place, the cleanse with the turn meter, the heal, one of the best heals in the game, the strength and protected, and the shield. I mean, and the ally joining in on the A1 speed in all battles. I'm going Marichka number 4. Now it's mythical time. Number 3 champion in 2025. I could easily go Mikage, but I'm gonna go Toshiro the Bloody. This dude is just a DPS machine. He's such a DPS machine that you can use him in Chimera against Force Affinity. He's still the best damage dealer on your team, on the best teams that we see out there. He's absolutely busted. He's absolutely insane, and you just keep him in his base form. I mean, you can take a look at his other form. It's pretty cool, I think. You know, he looks better in his second form, in my opinion. He's got AoEs for days with extra turns as well, but he has that escalating ability on the Sanguine Darts, and he does so much damage, and he brings decreased defense in a leash on a 3-turn cooldown, and an incredibly hard hitting, one of the hardest hitting A1s in PvE in the game. Toshiro the Bloody at number 3. Number 2 in the game is Siegfried the Nephilim. Siegfried, oh my word. This guy can solo like half the content in the game because of the Rage of the Nephilim. He can solo waves. He can solo Centranos. He can solo Doom Tower. He can solo waves. He can solo enemy arena teams. Just one Siegfried can get the job done.
I'm uber versatile. I put you to shame. If you are a mess and I'm a building in flame.
The cool thing is you can build them in so many different ways. You can build them with Merciless. You can give them with Savage and Lethal. You can build them with Feral Gear because he has a built-in stay alive mechanic. He's going to block that fatal hit. He's going to put the block damage on himself. He's going to fill his turn meter. He's got the hardest hitting ability in the game in Rage of Nephilim with surplus damage that kills everybody. He's got the Sephirotic Wave where he's going to go in there and reset cooldowns all over the place, fill his own turn meter all over the place as well. Man, he's just an absolute uber noob. nuker inside the entire game. And then just when you thought you killed him, he switches forms. He looks insanely good. And then he revives everybody with block damage. He heals them all up. He cleanses them at the same time. And then he heals even more, right? I mean, just broken, just ridiculous. He's my number 2. And number 1 in 2025 is Star Sage Galathir. Star Sage Galathir does it all. You can build him with a ton of resistance. You don't need accuracy because his accuracy is equal to 75% of his resistance when he's in his alternate form, where you need the accuracy. So you can build him super tanky, super high resist. He's got the cleanse. He's got the block debuffs. He's got the heal. He's got the revive. Perfect veil. He's got less damage received. He's preempting his own death. He's got an AoE with turn meter fill. He's got AoE with turn meter depletion. He's got AoE buff removal, block active skills, doesn't trigger counterattacks, got an AoE increase accuracy on allies, decrease resistance, then stun all enemies as well. I mean, what doesn't this guy do? What doesn't this guy do? I guess a few things, but still, Star Sage Galathir comes in at number 1. Shout out to every other mythical that I could have easily put on this list. It just goes to show you how the game's evolved, both from a power creep and a money creep, right? Lazarius could have been in the conversation. Certainly Gizmak could have been in the conversation. We already mentioned Lydia in the conversation. These are just my personal top 5, guys. I hope you enjoyed the look through time here to kick off 2025, 5+ years, 6-7 years of Raid Shadow Legends now. This is the evolution of the top 5 champions in Raid Shadow Legends. I am Ash. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.